Hello everyone, welcome to the theory class. Today we're going to be covering lesson 8. And before we get started with that, let's go ahead and do our evaluation, which will be covering lesson 7. Okay, so make sure you have your machine out. I will go ahead and dictate the evaluation for lesson 7, and then we'll go over that. And then I will be going over lesson 8. So make sure you have your handouts printed out so they're ready to go. All right, here we go. Number 1, heal. Did you heal from your injury? Number 2, steep. That is a steep hill. Number 3, hid. She hid from her mom. Number 4, new. Is that a new car? Number 5, light. Turn on the light. Number 6, tub. Get in the tub. Number 7, know. I know you know how to do it. No. I know you from somewhere. Number 8, mule. The mule can be mean. Number 9, buy. Let's go buy a new car. Buy. Number 10, step. Step up. All right. Let's go over those words. See how you did. Number 1, heal. You need to heal from your injury. H-A-E-L. And then the heel on your foot would be H-long-E-L. Number 2, steep. S-T-long-E-P. Number 3, hid. H-short-I-D. Number 4, new. That is a new car. N-U. Number 5, light. Turn on the light. L, long I-G-T. Number 6, tub. T-U-B. Number 7, no. I know you. N, long O. And then no, she said no, would just be N, short O. Number 8, mule. M, long U-L. Number 9, buy. Let's buy a car. B, long I. And then, of course, I went to go buy the store, would just be B, short I. Number 10, step. S-T-E-P. All right, so if you missed any of those, I would say if you missed more than 1 or 2, definitely go back and redo lesson 7 before you move into lesson 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over lesson 8. Hopefully you have all of your handouts printed out so they're ready to go. Lesson 8, 8.1. We're going to learn some new letters today on the initial side. We're going to learn our initial F, which is the initial TP, okay, and initial V, which is initial SR. So when you have your hands on your keyboard, the initial F is going to be struck with your ring finger and middle finger on your left hand, TP, okay? Your initial V is going to be struck with your pinky and index finger, SR, on the left hand, okay? So make sure you're using the correct fingers. All right, so anytime you're reading your notes, you don't want to say initial TP. You want to say initial F or initial V. You don't want to say initial SR, okay? You want to look at that SR as a V, or look at the TP as the F. Okay. Now, let's look at some of our words here. We've got fat. I'll use my pointer so I'm not in the way. F-A-T. Full. F-U-L. Far. F-A-R. Fed. F-E-D. Feet, as in my feet were sore today. F, long E-T. Then we have feat, as in an achievement. The running was a considerable feat of determination. That's going to be the F-A-E-T. We've got our E-A reversal rule there, so we're going to use our A-E. Okay, fit, F, short I-T. For, F-O-R. Now notice for is a short O. Even though we say the O and it's a long O, we have to save the long O for words that have the prefix for, such as forgot, forget, and so on. So we're not going to really get into the prefix words right now that start with for, but I like to explain that so you're not wondering why. So that's why for, I will go for you, would be F-O-R. Okay, we only use a long O when we're using words that have the prefix for, okay? All right, then looking at the next line, line 3, we've got vie. Vie just means to compete or to fight. He will vie for her love. That would be V, long I. Okay, view. Initial V, long U. Vague, initial V, long A, G. So A-E-U-G. Okay, vote, initial V, long O-T. Vote. Vat is just a large tank used to store things, such as gasoline, things like that. That is going to be initial V-A-T. Vase, initial V, long A-S, and it's with an S. It's not written with a Z. It's not vase, it's vase, okay? Vice, that means like wicked behavior. Gambling and cheating is his vice in his life. That's going to be initial V, long I-S. Vogue, that means a fashion or a trend. The vogue is to present the style on the runway. Okay, vogue is going to be written as initial V, long O-G. Okay, so those are your words in section 8.1, your word practice there. And before you start writing those new words, just go through and go back and forth. Initial F, initial V. Go back and forth. Let me show you here. I'll try to stay out of the way as much as possible. So before you even start the words, just go through and hit initial F, comma, initial V, comma, initial F, comma, initial V, comma. And that way your fingers get used to where they need to go, okay? All right. Moving into 8.2, we've got a practice writing drill. The fog. Now, after each phrase, you want to use your comma, okay? So the, lift up, and then come back for fog, F-O-G, lift up, and then strike your comma. It just makes it easier to read. The fire, comma, the veil, comma. Now, even though veil is spelled V-E-I-L, it's going to be written with a long A because the sound. Initial V, long A-L. Okay, has a long A, so we write it with an A, long A. To vie, meaning to fight, comma. The foe, comma. Foe just means an enemy or an opponent. So far, comma. To fear, comma. Now don't forget, fear would be written with the AE because of the EA reversal. The phase, that's going to be written with our final Z. It's not the face. That's how we would write face. Okay, it's the phase. So we're going to write that as F, long A, Z, phase. And then our face would be F, long A, S. To feel, comma, to fight, comma. Now, fight is F-I-G-H-T, so we're going to write that as initial F, long I-G-T. It's one of those G-H-T words we're going to use, the final G-T. The fate, comma, a vice, comma. Again, we're using our final S, vice. Otherwise, it would be vise. Okay, the vogue, comma, to fit, comma, the vet, comma, to view, comma, view, even though it's spelled V-I-E-W, we write it as initial V, long U. So vague, comma, a fit, comma. Let's back up to so vague. Just a reminder, so is simply S-O, okay, just like it's spelled. And then if I were to say I want to learn how to sew, that's going to be our S long O. Just a little reminder there. To vote, comma, to fail, comma, to fill, comma, the fuel, comma, to feed, comma. There's our long E, otherwise it would be fed. Her face, comma, the that, comma. All right. Moving into section 8.3, we have a sentence drill. Now, after each sentence, we're using our period, but I do want to remind you, if you ever see a comma in one of the sentences, then you want to strike your comma. Okay, that's going to be coming up on the next page. All right, so let's look at some of your sentences. Again, this is practicing our initial F, initial V. He fell off, period. So off is just our OF. He fell off the pole, period. Notice that off the is underlined. Don't forget to phrase. O, final F-T. He fell off the light pole, period. Feed the mule, period. Mule is going to be a long U, M, long U-L. Feed the cat, period. Feed the ape, period. Face the light, period. Face the fire, period. Can you face the fire in Iraq? Vie with Kate, period. Now, Kate is a proper noun, so we want to flag that. Vie with us, period. Notice that with us is underlined, so we're gonna phrase that. W-U-S, with us, period. Vie with her, period. The hog ate the fat, period. The mule was fat, period. The pig was fat, period. It is the vogue, period. It is the vogue to vote, period. It is the vogue today, period. She has a veil, period. Just a reminder, has is H-A-Z. It's not has, it's has. She wore a veil, period. She tore her veil, period. We fed the mule, period, long U. We fed the pig, period. We fed the ape, period. The vat is full, period. Full is just F-U-L. The vat has fuel. So that's going to be our long U, F, long U-L, period. Fill up the vat with fuel, period. Notice that up the is underlined, so we're going to phrase that, U-P-T. He would fail, period. He would fail to vote, period. He would fail to vote today, period. All right. Moving on over to section 8.4. We've got some new briefs and phrases. Let's look at our briefs and phrases. So, we're going to learn if today because we learned our initial F. If is going to be the initial TP, which is struck with our ring and middle finger on our left hand. If. That's our if. Then we've got phrases, if I. Now don't forget, we're going to use our short I because it's a pronoun. Okay, so if I, F-I. If you, F-U. Okay, and I will explain how to write F-U. If somebody says F-U someday, that's going to be later on in another lesson. You're going to learn how to write all of the bad words out there. If he, F-E. If you, I think I already said that one, F-U. If the, initial F, final T. Okay, so there's quite a few that we can phrase with if. Now, notice that I said if is on the initial side. Now, let's look in line 2, of. Of is going to be our final F. So this is now our initial F. This is our final F. So this is going to be a lot like the briefs that when we learned it and the. This is a lot like the same thing. You can't get them mixed up. Okay, so of is going to be final F. So that way we can phrase of the final FT, of the. Line 3, we've got have. Have is just going to be our initial V, SR, have. All right, have the, initial V, final T. Have a, initial V, A. Again, A, we're using that as a phrase, so we don't want to have a long A. Okay, it's just a short A. VA, short A. Have you, initial V, U. Again, short U. Inform, F-O. Okay, so we've got our initial F, O, inform, F-O. Information, that's going to be written as F-O-G-S. Notice that my GS is going to be struck with my ring and pinky on my right hand. Eventually, you guys are going to get shun words, words that end with shun, like lotion, contraption, fiction, things like that. And that ending you're going to learn is going to be the final GS. That's not for a while, but I like to just explain that because I do get students that often ask me, why do we have to write information as F-O-G-S? And that is why, because that's where we get the GS. Anytime we have a shun word ending with shun, we're going to write it with a GS. Okay, so information, F-O-G-S. So inform is just F-O, information, F-O-G-S. Then we have very. Very is initial V-E, very. So those are your briefs and phrases. Again, I recommend that you practice those before doing the homework, just so you can kind of get familiar with where your fingers need to go before you actually start the homework. Okay? All right. Moving into 8.5, it's just a brief drill. So it's pretty much going over briefs along with some other briefs that are thrown in there just to kind of make you think. So make sure you separate each one with a comma, if, comma, information, comma, where, comma, and so forth. Okay. Moving over to 8.6, we've got some practice sentences, and we're going to go over those. There's some things I want to point out to you. Now, the first line, we've got you have to share with her, period. He will have to feed the dog, period. Notice that he will is underlined, so we're going to phrase he will with as E-L, okay? We would have to ask her to do it, period. Now, let's go to line 2. It says, inform us of his fear. Notice that inform us is underlined, and that's because we phrased that. Inform us is going to be F-O-U-S. For inform is F-O and then U-S. Okay, so we're bringing that together. So make a little note if you need to, or highlight inform us, F-O-U-S. Then the second sentence, will you inform us? Again, F-O-U-S, interrog. Inform her when you fail, period. Line 3, he will have the information, period. He will inform you of it, period. Notice that inform you is underlined, and we are going to phrase that. Inform is F-O, and then we're just going to add the U, F-O-U, inform you of it, period. I will mail it if you say so, period. So if you have to, go through and underline all of your phrases. Everything that's underlined, highlight it so it stands out. I think that's a great idea. Okay, line 4 looks great. She has some information, period. I fear the information, period. The information is bad, period. Line 5, I will use it if Kate has a car, period. Don't forget to flag Kate. If she were to die, comma, notice the comma. Now, I really highly recommend that you highlight that so that it stands out when you go to write that sentence. You want to add the comma because it's in the sentence. If she were to die, comma, it would be sad, period. Now, if I were dictating that, you wouldn't have to put the comma there. But when you are physically looking at your homework, if you see a comma, you want to strike your comma. So highlight it. Okay. She will file the deed if she has to, period. Line 6. It is very, comma, very late. So you're going to use, your brief, very, S-R-E, very. Lift up, strike your comma, come back for very, and then write late, period. It is very, comma, very late, period. The soup is very hot, period. It is in very bad shape, period. Line 7, she ate a piece of pie, period. We were to share some of it, period. Now let's talk about some of it. We can phrase some of. Of is here, final F, and here's some, initial SM for some. So we can phrase some of. Now we can't phrase some of it because it is over here, right? So, but we can phrase some of. All right. Make a note of that if you need to. All right. We had some of the pie, period. Line 8. Cut a piece of pie for me, period. Will he inform us of it? Interrog. There's inform us, F-O-U-S. Have you the information, interrog? Okay, let's look at line 9. Mail the letter if you can. Now, you guys have not received final K yet, but I'm going to just kind of inform you so that you know the answer to this question when it does come up. Eventually, you're going to get words that end with final K, which is our final BG, which you don't have to know right now, but I do have students that ask me, can I phrase if you can? You cannot, because that is the word fuck. And it's always hard for me to come out and just say that like it's no big deal, but you are going to learn how to write every single bad word that there is. So that's how we write fuck. It's F-U-K. So that is why we cannot phrase if you can. Now we can phrase if you, and you are going to phrase if you, F-U, okay? But when you learn your final K, you cannot phrase that whole thing because you're going to notice on your software it's going to come up as the word. Okay, so make a little note there if you have to. Okay, but do phrase if you. Okay, I will face her if you do, period. I will have tea if you do, period. If you. Notice that they're all underlined. Line 10, have some of the soup, period. Now above we talked about some of it, and we can't phrase some of it because it is over here, just some of. But this one is, we've got some of the. So we can phrase that whole thing. Some, S-M, of the. So phrase that whole thing. Okay, S-M, of the. The whole thing is phrased. So you can highlight that so it stands out. Have some of the soup, period. Soup is a long U. He has some fear of the dog, period. Pay some of the bill, period. There we go again. Some of the. We can phrase that whole thing. Line 11. I will buy it if I can wear it, period. I will do it if I have to, period. He will ship it if I sell it, period. Line 12. Have a nice day, period. Can you have a new coat, interrog? Do you have a new car, interrog? Line 13. If he stole it, comma, he has it, he still has it, period. Again, highlight the comma so you don't forget to strike your RBGS. If he has the information, comma, tell me, period. He will fail if he has any fear, period. We have the file here, period. Will you have the meat rare in Iraq? And that meat is written as M-A-E-T. Okay, and then if we had I will meet you, that would be M long E-T. You do have the new car, period. Line 15. If the cat is here, comma, feed it, period. If the rat is here, comma, kill it, period. If the car is here, comma, he has it, period. Line 16. Have you, you're going to phrase have you, initial V, you, have you had a, H-A, okay, it's an article A, so we're going to write it as in a phrase as a short A. Otherwise, it'd be the word hey. Have you had a meal in Iraq? Have you hit the cat in Iraq? Have you set it up in Iraq? Don't forget to phrase it up, T-U-P. All right. So those are your sentences, practice sentences for 8.6. Moving into 8.7, we've got some consonant compounds, and today we're going to focus on initial SC words and initial SK words, which it doesn't really matter if it's a C or a K, spelled with a C or a K in the English language. We're going to write it as SK. And then we've also got SL words, which is going to be SL. Okay, let's look at some of our consonant compounds. We've got scare, that's going to be a long A. SK, long A-R. Okay, you don't want to write it with a short A, it would be scar. Skid, SK, short I-D. Scab, S-K-A-B. Scoff, S-K-O-F, just like it's spelled. Skull, S-K-U-L. Scat, S-K-A-T. Scar, S-K-A-R. Skill, S-K, short I-L. Skit, S-K, short I-T. Score, S-K, long O-R. Scuff, S-K, short U-F. Skate, S-K, long A-T. Don't leave out the long A, otherwise it would be scat. Sleep, S-L, long E-P. Slur, S-L-U-R. Slat, S-L-A-T. Slip, S-L, short I-P. Slap, S-L, short A-P. Sleet, S-L, long E-T. Slight, S-L, long I-G-T. So if you look at the word, it's spelled G-H-T, so we're going to use our final G-T. Hopefully that's getting a little bit easier for you. Okay, slop, S-L-O-P. Slit, S-L, short I-T. Slut, S-L, short U-T. Again, you're going to learn all of these bad words, so you have to kind of get used to it. And if you've got little kids running around, then you may want to just put some headphones in or some earbuds so that they can't hear some of these words, okay? Because it's only going to grow or come across more often. Okay, slug, S-L-U-G. Slurp, S-L-U-R-P. So again, slurp, you're kind of doing this little number here with your fingers. So you're kind of moving up. Now you're going to kind of start seeing why you have to have your nails shorter. You're doing things like this and this. So having your nails shorter just helps so that your fingers don't slip off the keys. All right. Moving over to 8.8. We've got our practice sentences focusing on our new consonant compounds. I just have a couple reminders. We don't have to go through all of these sentences, but in line 1, second sentence, she had a scar, period. Just a reminder, had a is a short A, H-A, because it's a phrase. Line 3, third sentence, it says, he will scuff his shoe. Even though shoe is spelled as S-H-O-E, we write it as S-H long U, shoe. Line 4, Ray is a slob, period. Again, we want to use a short A, S-A, short A. Otherwise, it would be the word say. Okay. Now, if you look down in on line 8, the second sentence, it says, pour the new slab. I want to talk about that one. Pour is going to be written as P long O-R. But down below, you need to make yourself a little note. Okay, pour, P-O-U-R, is written P long O-R. Now, I want you to write P-O-R-E. Write that down. That's like the pore in our skin. That is going to be flagged. P long O with the flag R. Okay, so P long O-R, and I would flag, use your left index finger with this one because it's available. Okay, so P-O-R-E is flagged. Then we have pour, as in that family is poor, P-O-O-R, and that is going to be written as P-A-O-R. And in lesson 12, you're going to learn about words that are spelled with O-O are written as A-O. It's like the spelling rule using the A-E reversal. It's just like that. If you have a word that's spelled O-O in English, we write it as A-O on our machine. So even though we really haven't touched that yet, I just want to go over that so that you're aware of how to write all of the different pores. Okay. So that family is poor. P-O-O-R is written as P-A-O-R. Okay. Then we've got power, P-O-W-E-R. He has a lot of power. That is written as P-O-U-R. So when you write that down, you're going to notice that it looks like the word pour, as in pour me a drink, but that's how we write power. And once we hit lesson 16, that's where you're going to learn your ow words. And ow is going to be the O-U. We're going to learn oi, ah, ow, all of those types of sounds in lesson 16. But I like to kind of give you a heads up so you understand why we do the things we do, because oftentimes I'll get students to ask me, why don't we write pour as P-O-U-R like it's spelled? Well, there's a reason, because we don't want it to conflict with power. And then we've got, 3 homonyms there, pour, and pour. Okay, so those are the ways that we write all of those. So write those down below on your handout. Okay, now the rest of those sentences look good. We don't need to really go over those because there's nothing really that stands out that I need to explain. Again, that last sentence says, he said she is a slut. With court reporting, that's one of our jobs, is to write everything that we hear. So once you get out into the real world as a working reporter, whether you do depositions or you're working in court or even captioning, you're going to hear everything out there, every subject or case imaginable. So you have to know how to write every word. So then you're going to get exposed to that in school. Okay, so I like to just kind of give you a heads up now so you're not wondering, why am I getting these words? So it's because you're going to have to know how to write every single word out there. So, okay, so that concludes our lesson 8. So once you have done this lesson at least 3 times, preferably 4 or more, then you're going to come back and watch the read back portion of the class. So I will see you soon. Have a great day.